How's it going, everybody? Happy Monday. Hopefully your trading day went well. Mine went amazing. I put up my first 5-figure day this year. Pretty cool to be able to say that. That's a lot of money. So what I want to do is I'm going to keep the video short and sweet. I'm going to go over the trade recap of the trade that I took on Tesla pretty quick off the open and how I was able to make that much. And the reason why I like the setup so much today and I had such high conviction is because of the daily chart first. It broke out of the bull flag, and knowing the personality of Tesla, when it can break out of those patterns, sometimes it can have a lot of follow through and catch a ton of momentum. I thought there was a chance of that today. I took a pretty aggressive entry off the open, put on risk, and lucky enough, it worked out. Now let's get into the technicals and kind of the market sentiment, because that's what's very important. So starting with the SPY, this is the daily chart, what it looked like coming into today. So it put up a nice green candle on Friday. So that reversal candle on Thursday totally is gone. Friday wiped that out completely, which made me believe that we're in a buy the dip market and the short-term trend is clearly up. It's above the 9 EMA. So I said it's a nice green day on Friday, showing some weakness in pre-market, but could be a buy the dip opportunity. More upside if it gets above pre-market high and prior day high at 427.21, has room up to 429, 431, can pull back if remains weak off the open, then breaks pre-market low, has room down to 423, 421. So there's a little bit of weakness in the pre-market, but just realizing we're in a short-term uptrend, sometimes those dips can be buyable opportunities. And being that sentiment has shifted a little bit and it's not so fearful, I thought that maybe that could possibly happen. Now, I'm not going to get married to the idea, but just trying to understand the market sentiment and what could possibly happen. Now the Qs, so a decent green day on Friday, showing some weakness in the pre-market, but could be a buy the dip opportunity. More upside if it gets above pre-market high and prior day high at 330.59. Has room up to 333, 334. Can pull back if it stays weak off the open, then breaks pre-market low. Has room down to 326, 325. So now let's break down Tesla daily chart because I think that's pretty important. So if you can see right here, this is the recent bull flag. A lot of consolidation, a lot of back and forth. And then Friday put up a nice green candle and it closed back above the 9 EMA. So looking back at a prior bull flag on the daily, just knowing that the personality of Tesla, sometimes when it can break out of these patterns, it can have a lot of follow through, whether it be a bull flag to the upside or a bear flag to the downside. When it catches momentum to the upside, it can keep going. And when it sells off to the downside, it can go a lot further than people think. Just trying to process all of that information in my head and use prior data to make future decisions and realizing that this just looks pretty good. I know there was the 200 SMA above, but overall the technical pattern, which is what I focus on, looked pretty good to me. And now to go over the actual trade. So sadly, I did not record this. My emotions were a little heightened in pre-market because I felt like there could be some really good opportunities. I forgot to record it, but I did take a screenshot. So you can see the entry. I got in very quick. When it took a little bit of a dip to that 904 and then started to get bought back up, I took a very aggressive entry because I felt really good about it. I took 20 contracts. This is my rare size, only when I feel very convicted on the trade. So got in pretty quickly. Those 20 contracts got filled at $25.30. Ended up catching this whole move higher, and I ended up getting out at $30.65 to make $10,700. So it ended up being an incredible trade, but just to break this down a little bit further. So what happened exactly off the open? These are 2-minute candles. The main indicators that I use are VWAP and the 9 EMA. So it did have a little bit of a push through pre-market high. So I didn't think pre-market high was as relevant, but just going with the daily chart pattern, very high conviction play in my opinion. Pulled back a little bit, found some support right around 904. I didn't know what it was going to do, but kind of seeing this bottoming wick, I saw it get bought right back up. I wasn't obsessing over the level 2 or time in sales, really just looking at these candles. The moment it found some support right at 904 and started to get bought back up, I ended up going long. I got a nice move higher. The reason why I didn't take this quick move is because I felt like there was a chance for this to really break out. So just trying to be slightly more patient than I usually am, even though I'm still always going to be taking quick profits. Pulled back a little bit, but as long as it held this low, I thought that it was okay. So I took a big risk here. If this ended up breaking the low, I would have had to get out. I probably would have lost $2,000 to $3,000, but I don't have a small account anymore, so I was willing to take that risk. Had the move higher, pulled back, held around the VWAP and the 9 EMA, did an upside 2-minute opening range break. Even though that first candle was not red, still the pattern was set. Got nice follow through once it got back above 912, huge move higher. And then the moment it started to slow down up here, kind of came into 919, 920 and pulled back a little bit. I'm just going to get out because that is a big move in my favor. And I sold right at this red arrow. So even though I was slightly more patient for what I thought could be a bigger move, it's still a quick scalp. I got in at 9:30 and 19 seconds and got out at 9:33 and 35 seconds. So I was still only in it for just slightly over 3 minutes. So it ended up being an amazing day. Sometimes you got to size up when you have that high conviction. 20 contracts is as big as I like to go. My normal size is 5 to 10. I went for it, I took the chance, and it just happened to pay off. So that was the trade recap and how I put up my first 5-figure day this year. I appreciate you watching the video. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. I just want to talk about a couple cool things that I have to offer. The first is going to be my newsletter watch list. This is exactly what I post on my private Twitter 30 minutes before market open every single day. I do a quick analysis of the overall market, the SPY and the Qs, if there's any major market news that day, and then all the stocks I'm interested in watching, it's usually 4 or 5, if there's any major news tied to them, and all the levels that I think are in play. To the left, this is exactly what I'm posting on my private Twitter. I make sure to add that newsletter. I take a screenshot of the charts, green line to the upside being long, red line to the downside being short, and I make sure to highlight those 2 levels above. This is everything that's going on in my mind and my game plan going into each market open. Also, I make sure to add a little mental note because every day is slightly different, and here's an example of that. And if you want something that's a little bit less of a commitment, I do offer a live one-on-one call for 1 hour. This is where you can ask me questions about my journey, go over setups specifically, everything that I've gone through as a trader. Whether you're beginner or advanced, this is a great way to connect with me. So if you're interested in my private Twitter or the one-on-one live call, feel free to go to callmattdiamond.com or check out the links in the description below.